Hey, DJ. Kudumbara, welcome. Valfreya, welcome. Hey, Amy, welcome. Darumdaraki. Hey, Momo, good morning. Karaki se Mayumi, welcome. Cauliflowers, welcome. Murkow, welcome. Hey, Ginger, welcome. Crystal's Intentions, welcome. Landon, welcome. Dream Kitten, it's awesome to see you. Judgy, Trudy, welcome. Trudy, welcome. Gideon Garakat, ECT, Sarana, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you feeling? Uniting Consciousness, welcome. I love that name. Holly trees, oh, right on. I wonder, tell us something, a fun fact about holly trees. Hi, Anna. Annie, hi, Shazia. Kiss My Ash, welcome. Mary P. View, welcome. Flu Factory, it's good to have you. Bailey, welcome. Flu Factory, welcome back. Rebecca, hi. Tadingarai, Shaman King, I like it, welcome. Tupa Leanne Fry, welcome. Tupa Indira Kasiarata. Hi, Rebecca. Where's everybody at this morning? Or I guess it may not be morning where you're at. Just curious where everybody's coming from today. Becca, okay, so it's afternoon where you're at. It's morning where I'm at. It's 9:22 a.m. Hi, Shelly. They were once believed to stop bad witches from walking the treetops. Oh, interesting. I love that. New Hampshire, beautiful. Netherlands. Oh, welcome. The Dutch. Los Angeles, Mississippi. So we got somebody on my time zone. California, we got a couple time zones that are accurate for morning. Good evening from London. It's awesome to have you from across the pond. I'm well. Yeah, I'm in just north of Seattle, upstate New York. All right. Around lunchtime. Well, this is good for any time of the day. I'm not froze. I don't think I'm froze. Arizona, Vegas, Sweden. Awesome. Beautiful. I think I watched it. No, it wasn't Sweden last night. Never mind. I think it was like Greenland or something. Americans think everything is we don't know anything about geography. Hi from New Jersey. Hi, Melissa. You're leaving for Boston to me. And I apologize. I jumped online and I totally forgot. I jumped on the live and I totally forgot that they're working on my roof right now. So there may be banging. So hopefully that's not too distracting. They're literally like working right above my furnace and kind of banging things around. So hopefully it's not too distracting. You might hear that. And another little interesting thing about my space at this time is last night I had a drive-by shooting. I don't live in the most fancy of homes. This was an upgrade from my homeless status that I was at. I was homeless for a bit. And so living out of a tent, and then once I was able to get a couple jobs and get some money coming in, then I was able to get a tiny apartment that was like the size of my tent that just happened to have, it's like a size of a larger tent, and it didn't have like the AC, the heater didn't work. There was like no insulation, so it started snowing the month after I got there. And none of the stuff worked, and there was no insulation, the heater didn't work, and things are like freezing inside, and like you could see your breath as you go to the bathroom. So my landlord offered to switch me over to another place, so they moved me over here. So this was an upgrade for me at the time. I was like, oh yeah, we'll do it. Like there was no walkthrough, like the people, they didn't clean it before, like it was bad. Been able to clean the space. It took a really long time. It was like straight up haunted. Every time I looked in the walls were just saturated with negative entities. Like the faces, like literally the walls were just faces of negative energies and entities. There was just so much activity. But now it's all light language. So the walls are just like covered in light language, or they're saturated in light language. But yeah, it was a big upgrade for me. So it's cheap, and I haven't really upgraded out. I know Spirit's been pushing me out the door, trying to be like, hey, it's time to go upgrade your space, because it's going to hold you back. It has been holding me back. And my 3D human has a hard time with 3D logistical stuff. I just forget. I'm so focused in the moment of trying to just manage being alive that I forget about stuff like that. So I think last night was a pretty good hint that maybe it's time to look for another place. I mean, I knew it was coming. I always put those guys, like, it wasn't my house, of course. It was the neighbor right next door, which they definitely deal drugs, and I'm always sending them love and putting them in their own little buckyball mirror structures to hold their space over there and keep that a different reality than mine. But everybody's okay, so everybody, yeah, it's all good. But I'm still I got like, police everywhere, and like and like the caution tape and all sorts of stuff, and you got the ballistics experts coming in, and of course, being nosy me, I'm like that. The garbage can for all of our houses are like right behind their house. So you have to walk through their driveway and through essentially right next to their house to even throw out the trash. So I was like, well, this trash has been sitting here. I got to take this trash out. I'm like, this is me being a good 3D human. That trash has been sitting on the floor for a couple days. The trash bag already full. And then, of course, when the cops are like, oh, yeah, it's perfect time to take out my trash like a good boy, and walk by and peeped. I saw like the ballistics going, like the holes in the wall, and it was like only like 5 shots, pop, 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 pop. But then I was talking to Stacy at the time too. And so it was funny. I was like, wait, I think I just heard gunshots. I think there was gunshots. I'm like, I looked outside. I didn't see anybody or anything, but yeah, vacuuming the front yard. Da, da, da. And then, and as I came back, one of the cops came out, and he was like looking at, he saw me, and I was like, everybody okay? Like, everybody okay? He's like, yeah, but try not to walk please try not to walk through this area. I was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know what you were doing. Like, I didn't know what's going on. So, but I did, sort of, I had a suspicion, but now I know. But yeah, so it's been a little, it's exciting 24 hours in some ways, but anyway, so today I wanted to do what we did a little bit earlier. I've been waking up really crunchy, so that's why I haven't jumped on in the morning to do some daily hygiene. But I was able to clear enough stuff this morning during my own like energetic hygiene practices that I was able to kind of feel a little bit better. So I would like to share that with y'all if you're open to that. So we'll do some cleansing and clearing. Love my new graphics. How do I do it? Yeah, I make them myself. So I use a number of things. So I create my own glyphs. I write out my glyphs. So I channel different glyphs that are multidimensional. They're entangled with all sorts of things, so they're kind of like little living beings in a lot of ways. Those little hieroglyphics. So I do those. I turn them into a font, and then there's different ways that I will channel to place those into a code. So I'll either like type it out in like English, which will then translate it into the light codes, my intention, into those glyphs and those multidimensional light codes. And then they're kind of like little versions of me, like multidimensional versions of me. And then they work with the individual through the quantum entanglement and just the quantum field, because they have more than one function. But anyway, I do it like that, and then I just create a movement, a scene for it that feels right. I channel it, and that has the vibe and the energies, the frequencies that are appropriate for what I feel it should be. But yeah, that's what they are. So they're multidimensional. They can be used for a lot of intentions. So even though that I'm using them and mentioning that they're for certain things, they can be used for all sorts of stuff. So even an individual glyph of those, you can take you can pause it, look at one of those glyphs, and what you can do is you can take that glyph, like breathe it in through your third eye and into your pineal gland. So your pineal gland's like right in the center of your brain and just a little bit back. Intend to do so, and inside your pineal gland there is a what they call the master cell. So this master cell is connected to all cells in your body. So you breathe. Your intention is to breathe that into that master cell, which then uploads it to every cell in your body. And then you can go from there. I would say you have to try that out, feel it, see what it feels like. Of course, follow your own discernment. These are my codes. I wouldn't just recommend people doing that with anything. But if you do trust and you ask your team if that's appropriate for you, you can try that out. And then you can. What I would always recommend as well is to then move it from the pineal gland. Once it's uploaded to every cell, move it from the pineal gland down through your central channel, so your pranic tube. I think they call it the sushumna as well, down through and into your heart space. And have it in your heart space and intend that that's like just radiating through your whole system. You don't have to do that, of course. You can do it with just feel. It's more about feeling it, and then you can use that glyph or any of the glyphs or the combination of glyphs to then ask it like you would a guide or command it to do something for you. It's like a living entity in a lot of ways. So you can say, or you can move that glyph into a certain area of your body and be like, hey, can you help me heal this? Or experiment with them. That's the purpose of those type of codes. And that specific. I do other codes as well, but for those, I'm just it's a bit of an experiment with my intentions and playing it out and see how people respond to it. So I would love for you to try that out and let me know how it feels and whatnot. But yeah, that's how that works. Slept good last night. Awesome. I didn't get to sleep until really late, and I didn't sleep much, but I'm not too tired. I mean, you know, the energy work always like gets me. Like the morning, I'm always good. I'm like good until like 1 or 2, and then I'm like, what the fuck? At least the last few days, I've been so exhausted. Valfreya, the glyphs are in. I just posted like 3 new light codes. I'll post another one probably later today. Just kind of keep them all in the same area, so people want to find them. I should make a playlist with them. But yeah, they're moving light codes. They're like a light code transmission in a lot of ways. Kokucha, yes, Pusha, thank you. And also what I do with these glyphs as well. So I do these. I design people. I'm not doing it right now just because I'm trying to get my website done and I'm trying to get my stuff lined up for like some passive income, because now this is what I do now for a living. Which is it's a hard transition. I haven't been able to, it's a hard transition when I am needing to take care of my physicality at the same time. So it's really important to like honor our bodies and honor the integration process, because we're going through massive shifts right now. So my higher selves, my team is really adamant about making sure I rest when I'm not feeling good, not doing too many like frequency upgrades, because that's like the main thing I do is frequency upgrades for people, and that's really taxing on my physicality. So I haven't been doing a ton of those. But I will be offering customized, personalized glyphs, and these personalized glyphs are just like example one of those type of glyphs. I make a fancy image for it, and then I give you like all the different formats for it, so you can like, you know, put it on a shirt if you want, you know, add like different, you know, JPEGs, transparent PNGs, you know, fancy ones, horizontal, vertical, all sorts of stuff. But what those are is that you can set your own intentions for it as well. So you set your own intentions, and I do a transmission into it. So it's quantum entangled with a transmission as well. So I set the intentions. You can set some parameters, what you want that to overall embody, what that glyph wants to be embody into it. I mean, I always give that to me first, because that's going to also affect the geometry of a bit. But sometimes I will do multiple glyphs and see what feels right and pick that one, and then intend to quantum entangle it with the transmission. So anytime that you're gazing at it, that's like that transmission, the energy and the intention of that transmission is then uploaded into your system, into your field, and can be used for whatever intentions. Yeah, I will let you know. Yeah, Ginger, for sure. I think my team keeps insisting that it's going to be sometime after this week is when I'll be good. So I'm still integrating from all of September. September I got my butt kicked. A lot of us did, but I really got my butt kicked. So they're really being, you know, really wanting me to be mindful and not have that happen again. So I've been eating good. I've been doing a lot of good stuff. I've been shifting a lot of things because I don't want to go through that again, because I almost didn't make it out. Thank God I had some amazing support from all of the community. Because usually I energetically quarantine because I'm so messed up. I can't communicate. I don't remember stuff. It gets really, really bad because my nervous system just gets completely overloaded, and all my me's start to come in, and it's just overwhelming. So it's just my psyche. Like I kind of like lose my mind sometimes. Go in between losing my mind from the pain and the different integrations, because I'm integrating more aspects of myself as I'm doing shadow work and clearing and healing and releasing, and as these incoming energies are coming, they're just really pushing that stuff through. And of course we're very multidimensional. I am very multidimensional, so I'm doing so much all at once that it's just too much on my physicality, so I can't even do anything. I can't function. So we got to rest. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is it's okay to rest. I'm teaching myself it's okay to rest, without it getting to a catalyst where it gets that bad, you know, where it's like, yeah, anyway, okay. But yeah, if you're interested in that stuff, hit me up, you know. Feel free to hit me up and ask me any questions. My new website's going to be awesome, so there's going to be a lot of ways to contact me, and there's going to be a lot of information about this stuff and resources, stuff like space weather updates and what else, all sorts of like products, which will be really cool, like linguistic, like, so those glyphs I'm going to be using on different products, so it's going to be entangled into those. So like, let's just say a coffee cup, I can have a glyph that is quantum entangled with the transmission that we put on a coffee cup, a design onto that coffee cup. That coffee cup, or that design, that glyph is going to then, let's say, it can clear and put love into that coffee, or it can put something else. It can put energy. It can, you know, it can, whatever the intentions are set. You know, the same thing with the shirts. It can be entangled with, you know, like keeping you in a balanced state, or just embodying love. It's just like, so it's just, you know, maybe on your heart chakra and just helping you just get pumped full of love. But anyway, so today, like I mentioned, I want to do some energetic hygiene stuff, which is just kind of a bit of a protocol that we go through. I go through each morning and do some of these things just on myself. But I figured, why not share it? Thank you, Sammy. Good morning. I figured, why not share that process, because it helps me, it makes me feel better too. So as I work, and I'll do some extra, code slinging as well and some energy work after I kind of set up the protocol. So what I'm going to do is, if you're open to receive, just be open to receive. And the way that I like to have people affirm their consent is by consciously feeling your body. So and not just feeling, like, of course we feel our body. We always feel things, right? But I'm talking about consciously feeling your body. So that's you saying, hey, I'm ready to feel, I'm ready to heal. So consciously feel your body to receive. But yeah, so yeah, we'll just go ahead and get into it. I already set up some architecture for this space, and I've already connected my pillar of light, and I'm just going to open my heart. I'm going to place a code in everybody's heart that's open to receive. Let me go ahead and quantum entangle the proxy that represents the group, and anybody that comes through, because I know people come in and out, so anybody that comes through that's open to receive will then be receiving through this proxy, which is like a double, like a hologram, represents almost kind of like a voodoo doll that represents the group the group as one individual. So I can work on this one thing, and that can affect everybody in the group. I'm going to put that guy in a little container just to help keep that safe as well, because obviously if it's quantum entangled with y'all, any other energies, not that there's any in here that can affect it, but any energies, they could possibly mess with the quantum entangled proxy or hologram, and that would affect the group as well. So I always like to put it in a safe space as well. And then I'm going to place a code in the heart that's going to bring all of our energy and all of our light, all of our geometry, all of our code back to here and now. And as that is going, I'm asking my highest self to step in, and any aspects of myself that are specialists, and anything that needs to come through today to step up. Part of what I do is create different aspects of myself. So that's actually kind of like one of my, if you want to consider it a gift, I can create essentially incarnations instantly. So I can make up a different version of myself and then I already have that reality like that. So we can create different versions that assist, and I'm going to ask them to step up to assist anybody that needs help today. The banging, I do apologize. The banging, they're working on my roof. So hopefully it's not too distracting. But if it is too distracting, just let me know and I'll try to figure something out. Okay. So no harm will be done, no energy will be taken, is not freely given out of love, and it'll be in alignment for the highest good of all. I'm just going to open our hearts as well. So I'm going to pull down a frequency, a white light down from the constellation of Sagittarius. It's going to flow through our crown and into our heart. I'm going to ask for a code it's for heart expansion. It helps open our hearts. If we have any kind of blockages in our hearts, it kind of bypasses that by working with our endocrine system and our energetics to do so. So a green cylinder with this code is going to flow down into our crown and into our hearts, and it's going to spin around and spit out these frequencies that just help open our hearts. It's a good time just to like visualize your heart opening, maybe seeing it just like blast out light, or just feeling your heartbeat, or just intending, and whatever works for you. Healing comes from the heart. I'm going to take a little thumb drive that has a whole bunch of entangled healing frequencies. I'm going to plug that in. I'm going to ask that to run for the next hour. And then we're going to connect to the Constellation of Optus, or however people pronounce it. Everybody pronounces it different. It's going to come down on a white diamond stream down from this constellation into the nervous system. So it's going to flow through the head and the face, and then the teeth and the tongue and the eyes and the brain, down through the brainstem, down through the neck and throat. It's going to bring healing into the nervous system, help calm it, it'll help open it up. This light's going to continue to move down through the shoulders and the biceps and the arms, all the way down through the hands, fingers, and thumbs, all the little streams and rivers of the nervous system, all the nerve endings into the 4,000 nerve endings in each hand. Going to continue down through the spinal cord, through the chest, the heart, the lungs, through the middle back and lower back, all the vital organs, through the reproductive organs, the hips and buttocks, the groin, thighs, hamstrings, the knees, shins, calves, ankles, feet, and toes. So we're just bringing in this nice, clean, healing energy into the nervous system. And as we heal our nervous system, and our nervous system holds more light and is functioning optimally, we begin to heal ourselves much easier. And we actually become walking healers as well. Anybody that goes into our energy field, as we increase the amount of light that our nervous system can hold and extending it past our body, and you want to do this as a slow process daily, you'll be just a healer, just as a walking, talking healer. Just the people that are in your aura will benefit from it. I'm going to connect to Mother Earth. I'm just going to connect to a magnetic frequency in her heart. I'm going to pull this up. So I'm connecting to energy, connecting to grounding up through my root and into my heart space. And we get power, energy, grounding from the planets, and then we get our data, information, light from the stars. So I'm going to connect to a star to pull down a masculine frequency or an electric frequency down through into my crown and into my heart space. I'm going to place a code in everybody's heart here. I'm going to eject the frequency from my heart out into this code. I'm asking these frequencies to continue to flow for the remainder of the work that we do today. This is going to bring in some starlight from Electra, which is in the Pleiades, from Vega, and from Alpha Centauri. So it's going to bring in confidence, manifestation, and also, of course, healing. I'm going to create a double of myself. He's going to place his hands on the front of the knees and release what we call Egyptian clearing pyramids. They're going to come out in sets of 2. It's old technology the Egyptians used quite a bit. It's going to flow around the body in sets of 2 and help transmute energy. So pyramids are really powerful structures because they can spin, and I think pyramid translates to like fire within, I believe, because of the way that it can spin energy up and shoot it out through the top. So that's why the pyramids are the way that they are, because they are able to use that energy in a functional way. So those are really helpful for transmuting energy. So those are going to keep going. I'm going to initiate an infinity that goes through the entire system here. I'm going to do it 12 times. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm going to put a code in that's going to keep it running. I'm going to ask that to run for the next hour, or it will dissolve when it's appropriate for each person for their highest good. This helps accelerate healing, but it also moves energy through the whole system. So what I'm going to also do is I'm going to drop in some light codes into that figure 8, which is going to then run through the system. So whatever is appropriate for each person, or as a group as a whole. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to trigger an automated healing. So this does a whole bunch of stuff. For those that can tune in, I highly recommend that you just relax and tune in, see what happens, see who comes in for you. There's all sorts of different beautiful light beings, organic light beings that will assist in your whatever that you will be receiving individually for you. And this is an automated clearing also, so it goes through and will help shift systems, helps release things from the meridian systems and the nadis, releasing things from the nervous system and bringing in, vortexing things in that may be appropriate for you. Most of the releasing and the clearing is going to be done within the first 24 hours or so, but just keep in mind that you're going to be clearing and releasing for the next 72 hours just from this part of it alone. So keep that in mind. You should be feeling a little bit better and better and lighter over the next few days with just this part. So what I'm going to do is intend that I place my hand on everybody's head, my left hand on the back of everybody's head, and I'm going to place my index finger and middle finger on the forehead, and I'm just going to trigger this really quick. So if you, I recommend to tune in, just tune in. If you're not able to quite tune in, just feel your body, become hyper aware, consciously aware of anything that's going on in your body, tension, pain, or anywhere that your awareness just leads you to, and feel. Feeling is healing. Feel to heal. The really basic idea of energy healing is to shift stagnant energies out of the body. And a lot of those stagnant energies are stuck emotions. Emotions are meant to move through us, but negative emotions we oftentimes will not process because we, it might not be appropriate in that time, or at least that's our belief system at the time. So we'll store those negative emotions in our body until it gets to the point where it creates dis-ease in the flow of energy. Emotion, energy, and motion. So if it's not in motion, it creates dis-ease in the body. And that's when we start to get, it starts to crystallize into physical issues, right? We start to have conditions and sickness and things like that. But it gets stored in the body. So feeling where those stagnant energies are, it'll express itself as pain or tension. So feeling into it is listening to it, saying, hey, I'm listening to what is here now. I wasn't listening before, but I'm here to listen to you. And feeling it is a powerful way of listening. And you're not really trying to change anything. You're just feeling it, because you're just accepting it where it's at and listening to what it has to say to you through feeling it. Full acceptance without any insistence is unconditional love. Beautiful. Kamano mata ba. Papia kuno mankurku mahkide ma mani kapaya wukuru tua siakra hit de pesurna. Pere ne nanira turke sietri sutorka sa ye turna ni marakurke. So what I'm going to do now is just trigger I can do korandi akra siete. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a shortcut code. It's a lyran frequency, so there's going to be a couple lyrans, blue beings, that are going to assist with this part of it. So those that can see, you may see them, you may not, but they're holding space. So what we're going to do is go through a whole column cleanse, so a whole pillar cleanse. It's going to go up through the upper energy centers to the ones that are outside the body, all the way up to the alpha transmission center, all the way down through the lower centers, through the Earth Star, and down all the way to the Omega transmission centers, doing a full column cleanse. So this is a really powerful healing. It's just going to go automatically. So I'm going to take out a cylinder here, an electric blue cylinder, and place this in there. between the root and the sacral, and that's just going to do its thing. It's honestly my pleasure, it's my honor to assist. I'm just a permission slip. So everybody's healing themselves, but I'm honored to be part of that process. Because I can't heal anybody that doesn't want to heal. That's the truth. So if people don't want to heal, or they're not interested in healing, or they put up some boundaries, I respect those boundaries, and they won't heal. It's up to each person to heal themselves. So what I'm going to do now is just another layer of just helping to remove stagnant energies. It's a really simple technique that you can do yourself. Is you can imagine a hologram of yourself, a double of yourself. You can entangle it with a doll. I have a video on my page under practical tips that will show you how to do that. But you can also just use your imagination to do it on yourself. And what we're going to do is just do an outline that goes around. So just a black line that's going to go around the body. That's going to go all the way, just outlining the whole body here. And this black line, we are programming to draw out any stagnant energy from the body. So it's just going to pull any toxicity, any stagnant energy, any miasma, which is dead light, into this black line, that's going around. So it's going to draw that out. And around that line, we're going to draw a white line. So we're just going to outline the body, almost like a chalk outline of the body, like. And we're going to program that white line to bring in pure source consciousness, just pure energy, into that. You can say white light, whatever frequency that you want. You can program it any way you want, and that's going to fill in those gaps in the energies that are being drawn out from that black line. And then we're going to do another layer to it as well. So we're going to draw another black line around that white line that's twice as thick as the first black line. So we're going to go around, do the whole body. And then we're going to program that black line to draw out 10 times as much toxicity, stagnant energy, miasma, stuck emotions, trauma, whatever it is, from the cells, from the body. So that's going to draw even more into that black line. And again, we're going to do another layer. So we're going to draw another white line around that. That's twice as thick. It's going to outline those other lines here. And we're intending that draws in 10 times as much pure consciousness, just pure healing light. And then I would recommend to set a timer on it. Say, okay, well, run this for the next 30 minutes. Or 15 minutes, or whatever it is. And then once that is cleared, I want it to be transmuted. You can ask your team, you can create a version of yourself and say, hey, transmute that energy and clear it once this time is up, and then boom. Or you can say open a portal, go through the portal, explode the portal. Just use your imagination to cleanse and clear it. That's an important thing to remember. This isn't like the way to do things. These are recipes that have certain ingredients. Just like food, you don't have to use the same recipe somebody else does, and you can make your own meal from it. You can just take what recipes that I'm using and what I think tastes nice, and you can create your own meal from it. So that's why I share things aloud. I could just go do this stuff, but I want to share that because it's really simple to do healing work. Once you recognize how it works, our imagination is key. Our imagination is real. It's actually, our imagination is our third eye, right? So using your imagination is a really powerful way, especially using it with intention is a really powerful way to bring in healing. The sounds right now are just coming out of my speaker. Yes. Oh, great. Idea, Loretta. She says, going to try this with an actual picture. Draw black, white line, black, white line. So doing that same exercise around a picture. And you can do that, absolutely. And I do this as well because I experience aphantasia, which means that I don't visualize. So I couldn't visualize a color for the life of me. I thought that people that could visualize, I thought that's what it meant to be clairvoyant for the longest time. So for me to do kind of a little bit more complicated things, I will draw out a picture. So I'll have a picture. I will intend that drawing is me, and then I will draw around it. So I'll draw structures around it. You can draw those lines around it, and you can intend it. And then once you're done, just be sure to like intend to clear it out and say, okay, this is no longer entangled with me, or you can exit out, or whatever way it works for you. Just have that intention just in case. It can just be helpful to do that, because otherwise it's just sitting there in space and could possibly be also influenced by energies and that you don't need to experience. So did that make sense? But a lot of energy healing is just about playing with the imagination. Remember, spirit speaks in symbols. It's multidimensional, because symbols are multidimensional. They can mean one thing to one person and another thing to another, but they're kind of archetypal, right? So that's why, like in tarot and a lot of spiritual things, or even just like when people go on, visionary trips, there's these like certain things that are always playing out, right? There's certain, poses, and there's certain, entities or beings or symbols, like a dove, or the swords and things like that. These are symbolic, and because symbols are multidimensional, and that's how spirit speaks to us. Because none of us are rigid. It's not rigid. Spirit isn't rigid. It's an experience of consciousness and perspective. So it's important that you use what is right for your consciousness, and that's what's going to make it more powerful. So not playing by my recipe necessarily, but by the recipe that you really like, that's really tasty. Maybe I like spicy food and you don't like spicy food, so don't eat my spicy food, because it might work. You might fill your belly, but you might be like, I did not like that. Make your own recipes, because no flavor is better than another flavor, right? We're just cooks. We're just different cooks. You are pretending for attention. That sounds about right. And you're commenting for attention. So like we're two peas in a pod. I do want people to put their awareness on me, because I am assisting them in understanding, remembering. So yes, and I appreciate your attention, and I appreciate your awareness, because where your awareness and your attention goes, energy flows. I love you. I know you don't want people to be misled, but that's kind of like religion, right? Is when you think that you know better for other people than they do. That's kind of an arrogant thing to do. I understand why you feel that way, because our society and culture has been so distorted and backwards for so long, that I understand that you don't believe in these things, which is fine. I don't blame you. But that's really just you saying that you don't believe in yourself. And how can I be upset with that? It actually breaks my heart. I believe in you. And once you actually start to have experiences, rather than being stuck in the left hemisphere of your brain, which is that logical, analytical side, things have to make sense right now. They have to be put in those boxes, and those boxes have been manipulated. That masculine energy, that logical left hemisphere type energy, has been distorted because it is so rigid and kept in boxes. So we think that this needs to mean this. That's what we've been programmed to believe, that this needs to do this. This means this. This can't be possible. But this type of work goes into the right hemisphere. And really it's a balance, but it goes more into the right hemisphere, which is that intuitive side. That is the side that processes data exponentially faster than the left hemisphere. The idea is to work with both hemispheres. And this work, though, does go into the right hemisphere quicker. The left hemisphere will catch up. It's not separate from understanding, but you actually have to be open-minded. You have to let go of the rigidity of the left hemisphere, because that's that logical side that gets stuck. And this isn't, true logic will always lead you to intuition, and true intuition will always lead you to logic. It's a dance. It's a balancing act. We want to move. You can even assist this by moving through the corpus callosum, which is the split between the brain, right? We can weave like an infinity symbol between it and balance the brain hemispheres. Really want to be balanced, and we want to be working from the heart and not the mind. The heart is the key. A lot of us are working from the mind, especially culture these days. So getting into that heart space and having a heart-mind calibration where you're making heart-based decisions will change your life. But I appreciate you for leaving those comments, so I had an opportunity to express that, and I hope you are open-minded and look into some of this stuff on your own, from your own perspective. Don't buy into anything that I say. These are just my perspectives. It might not be your reality whatsoever, and that is totally valid because each of us have our own reality, and it's literally a projection of the things within us. So if you have these definitions that these things aren't possible, or this is bullshit, or whatever it is, you're going to have a belief system that is going to reflect that, and that's what your experience is going to be like in your reality. So if you don't believe in it, that's totally valid, and I will never push what I believe onto you like you may be doing for other people by saying, hey, this isn't real. I'm trying to help all of you because I know better than you do. And most of the people that come into these type of chats, that come into these rooms, and they're not being tricked because they already know these things. They feel, they know, they're having experiences, and we're learning more and more. We're remembering more and more. It's not a learning thing. It gets triggered within you, and it's a remembrance. So I hope that made sense. I know it's far out stuff. I was in the same boat as you were for a really long time. I was really cynical and I was really pessimistic, and I was skeptic about things. But for a long time, and I was studying the shit out of metaphysics and all sorts of stuff, and I still didn't quite believe it. And not until I started having experiences. Those experiences break those programs. Once you have an experience with energy healing, or whatever experience, perhaps plant medicine, whatever it is, whatever experience it is, that then you will break down those limiting programs, those negative belief systems. And once you break those down, sometimes people can have cognitive dissonance, which is a real thing because the psyche has so many structures that are stuck, that are rigid in a certain way. And when you have an experience, it breaks down those programs and those structures, and it starts to open up your mind. Literally, your brain starts to process extra data. You start to move in that right hemisphere, and people can literally lose their mind from this stuff sometimes. So thank you, Katatishia. Thank you so much for all the gifts and stuff as I'm blabbing away. But some people, if it's not right for them, it can break people's mind. That's why psychedelics aren't for everybody, because some people's psyches just are not meant to have that type of understanding yet. There has to be a natural process, an organic process for each person. Yeah, Sammy the Ore Lady says, my husband didn't believe either until he started to see what a difference it made in people's lives. Absolutely. If it works, fuck it. You don't have to understand it. If it works for people, who gives a shit? Like, that's what's really interesting about this stuff is people think that they're trying to save other people, but they haven't even looked into it yet, right? I know that you haven't looked into it because if you had, you would start to see that this stuff isn't separate from science. Part of my role is to be a bridge for these understandings, to try to meet you wherever you're at, because I've been there. I was there, and it's not separate from science. So I'm going to be but sharing a ton of published peer-reviewed studies that help bridge these understandings. Things even from, CIA, government, released documents to, from, public health, the National Health Institute, like all over the place. This information is out there, but people aren't looking into it. And people are still looking from the perspective of Newtonian physics, which is only studying physicality. Physicality it doesn't create consciousness. Consciousness creates physicality. And that's a huge disconnect. That's why science has so many mysteries. It's because they're looking at it from the opposite perspective. Once we start realizing that we're spirit having a physical experience, then our understandings can start to rise up to the surface. So I hope that makes sense. And I'm talking now as we're just moving. So these frequencies, these energies are still being exchanged right now, and all this stuff is still working and moving. But yeah, I hope that made sense. That was a nice long monologue. So thank you for listening. But that's why it's also really helpful and important to share our experiences as well, right? Because it helped me a lot when I was first getting into stuff to hear other people what they experienced when I was doing these things and experimenting with these things, because the ego structure is really freaking sassy. It will hold so tight. Even if you have the most profound experience, the next day you might be like, nah, man, no, maybe not. Maybe not. Like, you could have just blown your mind and like cried and like had the most crazy thing. And then the next day you're like, I was feeling energy tangibly. I was working on people. I was having profound experiences. And it took like a year of nonstop having experiences before my ego structure finally let go a bit and was like, okay, okay, we can accept some of this stuff, but not all of it, and that's healthy too. At some level, discernment's really important in this type of stuff, you know. And discernment isn't whether things are right or wrong or fact or untrue or whatever. It's about how it feels within you, how it resonates with you specifically, because that's your guidance to find to lead you in the direction what is best for you. What is best for you might be to have experiences where things are bullshit for a second, but it's going to help bridge those gaps from an organic and dynamic way, rather than somebody trying to say, okay, this is the way it should be. You should go do this. You should know this. You should know this. Follow your feels, investigate things on your own terms, and that's going to lead you home. You're leading you home, not me or anything that. I'm just a permission slip to help you remember that you've designed for yourself. So all this stuff that I'm blabbing away is just me working with you to help you remember who you are, if that makes sense. Yeah, egos are sassy. It's like, I like to use the analogy like the ego. So the job of the ego structure is to protect who you are in this now moment. This meat suit, this identity that I call Thai, which is just a shitload of programs that have been been handed over through genetics, or, you know, adopted through childhood. You know, we listen to everything our parents say. We just absorb their belief systems and their definitions like a sponge, and it creates these programs that then we start to identify as our identity. So Thai is an ego structure, and that job is to protect it where it's at right now. So when it's challenged and it's acting out, it's a great sign, because that means that there's growth. There's something, it's going to change. So if you're like, I don't like this stuff, or this, if there's a limiting belief or a separation at all, that's the ego. The ego is saying, no, this is impossible. Nope, this is it. No, anything like that is the ego structure trying to protect itself. So when you see that and you feel that, you know that something is important in that, because it will help you grow in one way or another. So to challenge that, to face that fear is really helpful. I like to refer to like the ego as kind of like a little like a chihuahua, you know, that's barking at the mailman. That's just ferociously, like the mailman is delivering the mail and just. He doesn't know the mailman's here to help, right? He doesn't know any difference. He's just trying to help and trying to protect the house and trying to protect his mama, or whatever. So then you got to say, you know, it's just like, okay, you don't get mad. He's trying to do his best. You say, all right, I appreciate you trying to help out. It's the mailman. It's safe. Go lay down. Thank you. Give him a little pat on the head and say, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you, but yeah, it's not a threat. Hope that makes sense. Yeah. Sorry about the noise, everyone. They're working on my roof. So I'm just gonna start slinging some codes. Argentina, hello. I'm up near about an hour north of Seattle, in Washington State, in the U.S. Actually, what I'm going to do is just channel just straight light codes. Actually, after I do this, I'm just going to channel straight light codes. So it's kind of like Reiki. If you want to, it could be considered Reiki. So they're just going to be light, because light is information, light is data. So I'm just going to be channeling my own type of light codes in that kind of way. So anybody that comes through, it's just going to receive that love. And those light codes can do all sorts of stuff. It can make you just feel really good and shift energies and just fill you up, charge you up. But they're multidimensional, so you're welcome to use them in certain intentions and guide them to go to certain parts of the body or whatever it is. But I'm going to let this move through real quick. 13, Amen, Amen, said religion doesn't make sense. Religion is, for some people it makes sense, which is totally fine and valid. You got to remember that we're all very different. We're all going through different paths and have different experiences and different learning lessons to have, and we need to go through things. It's not about beating the game, it's about playing the game. So for some people it may serve them. But the thing about religions is that they're designed to literally keep things limited. They're designed to keep things in boxes, create rules and limitations and say, it must be this way, it can't be this way. If you do this, you're going to here, and if you do this, you're going here. That's not the way that it works in the big picture. It may be the way that it works for those that choose to believe that, and that's totally valid. But yeah, that's the purpose of what religions do. That's the difference between religion and spirituality. Spirituality is really an inside job. It's about finding who you are and remembering who you are and changing who you are, evolving into who you are in this now moment, because we're never the same us ever. We're always evolving, we're always changing and shifting. I imagine the first question ever to be, who am I? Or am I? Who am I or am I? And with a question, right? And then I think the first answer was I am. So am I? Am I this? And then I am. Am I this? I am. Am I this? I am. And then we're just split off into infinite different expressions of that, infinite perspectives to say, hey, am I this? Am I this? Am I this? And am I this? And you have that opportunity to say, yeah, I'm this, but I'm not this. I'm this, but I'm not this. It's totally up to you. It's your preference, right? And it designs who you are as a soul, and that can evolve, right? I am, therefore I am. Beautiful. I'm not sure I understand. Can't remove the comments. Oh, if you don't want to watch the comments? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm usually on this side of the lives, so I'm not sure. I'm part of God. Why would he give me away to the devil? To me, the perspective of God to me is all there is. It's ineffable. It is more than we can ever perceive. So God, in one sense, in the way that you are perceiving it, would be the masculine aspect of God. And really there's a trinity to it, right? There's that father aspect, the going, the doing, the mother aspect, the embracer, the holder, the container, the universe, however you want to perceive it. And then there, of course, there's the child, the Christed aspect of being the third, the creation of those. So the experiences that you have through your God, the perception and the way that you perceive God is what creates those experiences. So if you believe that, if that's an experience that you believe is to be valid, that's for you to understand, right? That's for you to investigate and understand why that would happen, because that is something in the big picture that you've created for yourself to help you remember, to help see more perspectives of self, and maybe to remember what you're not as well. I skipped out on religion because I was too busy watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Marie Claire, that's funny. I had too many questions for religions, and they literally never had answers for me, and it just really frustrated me. Which I don't think that anything is outside of understanding, because I think that's what all this is about, is understanding. So if understanding isn't shared, then it feels false. That's true darkness. I'm not saying religions are dark or anything like that per se, but if they're not sharing information, if there's not data there, then that is darkness, because light is information, light is data. So as we share more awareness and more, we are conscious of more things, our consciousness expands, right? That's all it's about, is understanding. And these things are not, I don't like to perceive them as gifts or abilities. They're understandings. They're things that I've understood over so many different versions of me, right? I understand how all this functions, and at a higher perspective, I understand it even better, right? So my higher versions of self really get this stuff. And it wasn't, of course, just like boom. Well, it was kind of boom. It's a paradox. It's always a paradox. It's all at once, but it's not at the same time. I believe we're capable of so much more than we perceive possible. Absolutely, Rihanna. Divergence, Rihanna. Absolutely. Anything we can imagine is real. That's the beauty of life. Absolutely. The thing about this reality is that we've created certain parameters, like certain rules and limitations, right? We say, okay, well, we got gravity here. We have things like space and time, these different parameters. So part of the parameters is time. So it's not, there's a delay on our manifestations and our intentions. So yeah, we can, but we can also learn to bypass that as well. We can overpower collective belief systems, but we have to truly understand it from within. We have to understand it. I could levitate if I wanted, but I have to really truly believe I can, and I'm still holding on to belief systems where I'm like, I'm like adopting, like, well, everybody else thinks it's not possible. No, it's not possible, that kind of a thing. But it's possible. Anything is possible. And the rules of the game are changing. So those parameters are changing. That's what all this like spiritual upheaval, all this like this new, this new passion for spirituality is really, if you want to call it ascension, that's what it's really about. I used to get pulled out of bed, and I remember getting pulled out of bed and levitating before, and I still don't believe I did it. Like I'm like, wow, did I do that? Like it tripped me out. But I used to see all sorts of stuff. All right, so now I'm just going to channel just straight light codes. So this is going to be like straight light. So Becca asks, are you able to tell when someone is a healer or a light linguist? Yeah, everybody's a healer, and everybody can be a light linguist. It's just about, like everybody can work at McDonald's if they want. They just have to go get the job. Or, everybody can be a singer if they want. But some people are just naturally better singers, But people can learn to sing better. Maybe your flavor of music is going to sound a little bit different, right? Maybe it's more like rapping or hip hop than it is like opera, Some people may be more of an opera singer. Or like me, none of the above, I'm a very old being there, not this chick. For my age is very old. My meat suit's older than it looks, I think. Or I'm more immature than I appear. I don't know how to say. I'm a toddler in a 6'4" frame. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So we're just going to channel these light codes. So these light codes, which are just complicated combinations of frequencies of light, data, information, are going to flow down through my crown and through my brain, through my neck and throat, into my chest, into my heart. They're going to be saturated in unconditional love in my heart space. When they're fully saturated, they're going to spill out from my heart, through my biceps, through my elbows, through my forearms, wrists, and out through my hands, fingers, and thumbs, and into the belly area of those that are open to receive. And this light is going to then be distributed from there. So this is where you can guide it to a certain area of intention. It can be an intention, or it could be part of the body, and ask it, communicate with it like it's a living thing. Say, hey guys, I would really be appreciative if you clear out 100% of the stuck energy in my sacral right now and fill it in with just pure love, things like that. Or I want to send healing to the emotional aspects of my breakup, or something like that. I want to learn to forgive myself. I want to forgive myself for this. Help me forgive myself for this, or like help me move out those frequencies of the programs that are really keeping me from feeling that. I do apologize for the work on my roof right now. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just totally up to you, Dreamkin. Yes, and thank you, Ginger. Or Anna. Thank you, Anna. Anna or Anna? Anna. Yeah, drink lots of water, especially I'm receptive to it as well. Ginger Waters, your name is also Anna. That's funny. It's funny that your name is Ginger Waters and that it's Anna. That's funny. Are you serious? You really seriously believe that baby talk is a good thing? I have no label to it one way or the other. I don't believe it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm neutral about it. I understand how it functionally works. So it's an exchange of data is what it is. So it's not just gibberish. That's the difference. It's what you're connected to and what information you're exchanging behind it. So it's frequency and vibration. But I understand that you perceive it in that way, sculpt tech. So no offense taken. I'm just a wizard, dude. Just pretend I'm a wizard. Everything is too conceited vibration. Not sure that makes sense, but if you're able to articulate what you mean by that, I'm happy to make a comment related to it. Oh, okay, got it. Honest stars, got it. Yes, yeah. So just think of, yeah, everything is vibration, absolutely. So just think of like the words and stuff like spells. As we know, speaking is spells. There's a reason why we call it these things, and there's a reason why in movies and shows, wizards and witches are doing this kind of thing and speaking what sounds like these weird languages. It's because it comes from something that's valid, just like everything else. There's always some truth behind it, but that's what that is, and it's it's making subtle frequency shifts in vibration. So that's what it's doing. So the energies that move through us, all energies are always moving through us, otherwise we'd be dead. It's about making subtle frequency shifts in the energies. And you can do that using your fingers, as moving, like holding different strings on a guitar and strumming it. I work with different energy centers, so different, they come in octaves, right? Like the red, they come in a scale, just like music. I can't remember I didn't do music theory, which I need to study just so I can have those vocabulary to speak to people who are really good at music, because it is music. It's a form of music. It's singing a healing song. It's like, there's extra information in the vibration. Were you a Christian and that's where you learned to speak gibberish? No. So that's another valid point, right? So people consider, some people ask if it's tongues, right? So I say that tongues is a form of light language. It's a flavor of light language. But remember, light is information, light is data. So, and this is science, by the way. Light is information, so light is data. So the idea of light language, light linguistics, is an exchange of information. So where are you getting your information? What information are you exchanging? So religions keep things in boxes. They say they have rules. They say they have limitations. You can't do this. You can't do this. This is the way this works. So it comes from a limited set of data, a limited database. Which is, that's valid. If it works for people, that's great. But it's still coming from a limited database. So this type of stuff comes from a more extensive database, right? We get information from stars, light from stars. We get energy and power from the planets. We get grounding from the planets. The difference between gibberish and what I'm doing is that information, that data. What you're connected to, what you're exchanging. So if you were to try to speak light language, you probably wouldn't have a ton of energy that people would feel. People probably wouldn't feel it. You might not have a lot of results. You may. It depends on your intentions and that type of thing, and where you're channeling it from. But that's the difference, is where you're connected. Anybody can do this stuff. It's not like something special. And I'm not something special. It's an understanding. And this stuff is, part of my role is to help bridge the gaps in understanding, to bring these things into the mainstream by talking to those that understand physics, that understand quantum mechanics, that understand vibration, frequency, and energy, because that's the magic. Of course, we're 99.9999999% empty space, right? And so on, because we're just magnetic fields, essentially. That's what physicality is. And in truth, we're just waveforms. What are waves? Like, it's just vibration, it's just energy. So how would you change that? Through vibration, through energy. Everything is vibration and everything is energy. So shifting that causes a shift in other things. That's a resonance. You match certain frequencies, you neutralize certain frequencies. We know, just like the opera singer that sings at a certain pitch and can shatter the glass. Yeah, I'm working on my website today. I should be getting it done soon. Probably not today. I wish I would. But it's gonna help explain these things from my perspective. Of course, this is just the way that I perceive things. Other people that do what I do may perceive it in a completely different way. So right now, essentially what we're doing is essentially just kind of like Reiki. I hope that made sense. You don't have to buy into it. You don't have to believe it. I'm not asking you to. This is just my perspective, like you don't go around to people doing cosplay and be like, hey, you're not a real elf, right? Like, what are you doing with your time, dude? He's like, what are you doing with your time? Like, that's what you're doing? You're scrolling on your phone this morning and just Telling people what you don't believe, it's all right, that's cool. Do I feel every individual? Sort of. I kind of feel them collectively now. I can feel when certain energies come in or out, and really what they're thinking, like if they're projecting at me. So I can feel when people are projecting negative thoughts at me, or when they have doubtful things, just because it's kind of like an attack in a way. So it's like, they don't mean to, of course, but I can feel that in certain parts of my body. It really just depends. Sometimes I can, sometimes I don't. I've learned to manage my own energy in a way that I can manage these lives better. When I first was doing it, it was overwhelming. I was way too sensitive. I do feel lots of love. Thank you. Yes, I do feel lots of love. And as I read that, I did feel even more love. Ignorance is sad. Well, like I like to use the analogy, like you don't get upset with a 6-year-old if they don't know calculus, right? You're not like, you're an idiot. Like you don't get upset at them because they don't have the data yet. They haven't looked into it. Just a 6-year-old can learn calculus. I'm sure there's 6-year-olds that know calculus out there, but they have to be introduced to the data first. And then if they want to learn calculus, that's their thing. Maybe they don't want to learn calculus. You can teach it. Maybe they just want to go play. That's totally valid, whatever you prefer. But you don't get upset with them because they don't know yet. A lot of beings here on this planet at this time are kind of in their like kindergartner stage or like preschool stage in their understandings, which is totally valid. And we don't get upset with them for the way that they believe things, because this place is so distorted and backwards, and it's like so inverted here that and there's so much distortion that has been intentionally projected onto us. Everything that we learn in schools is like a form of manipulation. Everything that we see on TV, there's manipulation in everything that keeps us in these belief systems that think that these things aren't possible. The magic is when you believe things are possible, or you're at least neutral, just neutral. Like I don't understand why people are not neutral. The people that can't believe these things are real are honestly not very creative. Like you're not using your imagination. Like that's why science is so stuck, is because, well, it's getting better and better because more creative people are coming into the science fields, right? We're merging like art and science and nature and science, right? We're getting technology from the right hemisphere of the brain that recognizes patterns and recognizes that, oh, maybe nature and organics is really where we should be learning about. To understand technology. And once we start to do that, we realize that we are technology, we are organic technology. And we start to understand our reality better once we start looking at things from a metaphysical perspective. We start looking at the idea of morphogenetic fields, which is a scientific term for the way, like the templates of energy that then manifest into physical reality, that holds the structures that keeps you in the shape that you are, and not just energy that just flows out, you're a container of energy. But yeah, it's just it's cool. I totally get it. I've been there, and the programming is a big part of it. We've adopted beliefs from other people, and we have this mob mentality as well. Like we don't want to be the weirdo, right? We want to be right, and if the collective thinks, the big groups of us think that it is a certain way, then we don't want. Well, if everybody else thinks that way, then it must be true. And if you think differently, then you are the wrong one. When you haven't even tried, like you honestly haven't tried, and I know it. Like nobody can lie about that. You haven't looked into it, and you really haven't. And if a quick Google search is your way of looking into it, you're still going to be a little. Depending on your previous Google searches, of course, another form of manipulation to bring you information that is relevant for you, the way that you perceive reality. But if you'll get stuck. Anyway, being weird is an absolute compliment. Being insane, people considering you crazy, is a huge compliment in this reality, because everybody else is insane. You look around at the world and everything everybody's doing, and if you think that they're sane, the way that they believe and all the hate and the confusion and the negative, just all that stuff, if you think that they're sane, then that's the reality in which you prefer, and I validate that. That's totally cool. But I choose to prefer a different reality. I choose a different reality, and that's one where there's no limitation, where magic is everything, where you are magic, you are limitless, you are love. Looking at things from a metaphysical perspective. It's not separate from science. It's not. We are music. We are music. We are vibration. Everything is music. Everything is vibration. Look at it from that perspective, we start to remember more. Magic is everything. Absolutely, absolutely. We are magic. Randonautica taught me mushrooms are fairies. I believe they're a form of elementals. They're like a technology. It's a living technology. They're beautiful, beautiful beings that we owe so much of our physical reality to. That's why they're really powerful, and they're really powerful allies in all ways. I mean, not just the fun ones, right? All mushrooms, like cordyceps and lion's mane for brain health, and there's reishi mushrooms. There's so many powerful healing elements to mushrooms, and they work with our systems in a certain way because they really emulate the structural energy, like the architectural energetics, like that weaves through everything, that weaves through our brain and our consciousness. So it's really able to work in an organic way to reprogram our consciousness, really to open us up, to break down those limiting beliefs, those programs that are stuck, structures that are false. They're artificial structures. And that organics can really help break those down and release those structures so you can start to perceive more. But yeah, so if anybody does have any contacts with doctors, I want to be working a lot. My goal, and I'm doing this now, is to start to work with Western medicine and in science in general, anybody that wants to study this stuff. Because I know with 100% confidence that this stuff can be measured in certain ways. I've got an EEG that's coming, a little device that's going to help me read. It's only 5-channel EEG, but it can help read brainwave states. So when I'm channeling, you can see my brainwaves go into certain states. You can see things shift because it's a different state of consciousness. You can feel the energies. I can show doctors how to feel energy. Once they feel it, then they can try to articulate it from the perspective that makes sense to them from their own language, right? Because I don't have the same language that they have. The semantics are different. They know how to speak to their people. I know how to speak to my people, and hopefully we can bridge that, because that's where the real magic is once we start working together. Unity consciousness. This stuff we're not trying to kick out Western medicine. We're not saying, we're trying to work together. That's where the magic is. We need both. We are physical beings. We need emotional support, we need mental support, we need spiritual support, we need physical support. Hi Julia. But also, like the energetics, I want to work with neurologists. Thank you, OA. I want to work with neurologists because the amount of energy that moves through my nervous system and the way that it affects my muscles, I can make certain muscles start to spasm just by placing my awareness in it. I can make my heart rate jump up to 300 just by placing my awareness in it. I can do these things that are measurable that I want them to help articulate, right? I want them to start to bridge that gap, because it's not separate. There's tons of studies out there, but we just need more and more people to be involved in these things. I want to go to hospitals and work with people, do measurable results. They've got x-rays, they've got MRIs, the stuff works. So let's just play with it, let's start collecting the data and sharing the data. The data's out there. It's just being suppressed. It's not being put out there for everybody to see. But yeah, so how's everybody starting to feel? How are you feeling? This energy's been running through for quite a bit. I talked a shitload. So thanks for, I wasn't intending to, but I guess it was the goal. Zena John asked, can you see my future? It's going to be beautiful. It's amazing. I don't see future. I can feel things in other states of being. I can kind of see the future, sort of, but there's no one future. So you have countless timelines, personal timelines that you can go on, little stream. So you're on a river. This river leads you to the ocean, leads you back home. It's going to lead you there no matter what. But in certain places, it may spread out in different streams. Oh crap, if I go that way, what's going to happen? I might go down the rapids down that way and blah, 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 blah. Or this way might be nice and smooth. So it's just, those are timelines, and those are choices that we can make. Those are in an individual timeline choice. But the river in general leads us to the ocean, which is our collective timeline. So there's different collective timelines as well. So we're working on collective timelines, but those collective timelines are still sending us to a certain goal, a certain endpoint. And that is the magic of what all these spiritual people are talking about is in the ascension process, is that collective timeline that leads to this one spot. Do we know what's going to happen? Not exactly. Not exactly. And that's why the multiverse has all of their attention on us. We're like the heart of this universe. The Earth is a very special place. It's like a library of different DNA and energies, and it's just like this repository. And there's all these big players that are here right now. So everybody that's been on Earth is on Earth. Like there's a certain aspect of them that is here, a fragment of their consciousness that is here because we're cleaning up all of that, the energies, and reconciling all those things throughout this experience. And once we reconcile these things, we're going to have a really beautiful healing experience. We're here to heal together. But there's really big players, and that's why there's so many eyes on us. Like everybody, it's like real world Earth, you know? It's like a reality show. Everybody's, you know, all these other beings, you know, they're not all aliens. They're all just, there's so many different types of expressions of beings, and they're watching. They picked their favorite humans to follow. They're like, I'm gonna watch Ty, and how's he gonna do on this season of Real World Earth? You know, is he gonna make it through? Is he gonna change his behaviors that aren't serving him? I don't know. Did he do it? Oh, he changed that behavior. He's eating better. Yay! He's actually eating. You did it, Ty. Woohoo! Zena John, can I heal you? I can be a permission slip for you to heal yourself. He'll live, yeah. That's what they kept saying when I went through September, the month of September. That's all they kept saying was, he'll live, you'll live, he'll live. I'm like, well, that's great, you know. Like I felt like I was dying, and that's all they would give me. It's like, you'll live, you'll live. Michelle says, I love learning from you. I'm so grateful you're helping to shape my journey. Yeah, I'm honored to be part of your process of remembering, right? So this stuff, it resonates with you because you're remembering it. It's not because I'm teaching it, right? I'm just sharing my perspective. If it resonates, great. If it doesn't, forget it. Honestly, just forget it, because it's not going to serve you. I forget everything that doesn't resonate or doesn't serve me. It goes into my subconscious, but I forget a lot of the things that do serve me as well. But yeah, I forgot what I was going with that. Ty, okay, so Missa asked, hi, can you answer me? I know the feed is going fast, but can you work with my son who's on Tokushia na Taisha? I'm not sure what the end of the sentence was, but I'm happy to work with your son. A big part of my role is to work with kids. So as I get caught up, and I take care of my 3D stuff first. For example, maybe getting out of this apartment where there's drive-by shootings and stuff, you know, and my roof's falling apart and everything's crap, you know. It's time for me to upgrade my environment, things like that, and finishing my website, getting passive income so I don't have to exhaust myself all the time with sessions and stuff like that, because they do tax me. Well, not all of them, but the ones that are most popular, the things that I specialize in, can wear me out. But what was the question? Oh yeah, but I do want to work with kids. I want to set up stuff to work with children, for sure. I work with a lot of kids. That's going to be my thing, for sure. Because these kids are the ones that are really going to wake up this planet. Because all these kids that are incarnating right now, at a certain, I don't know where this wave started or whatever, but they're coming in like full on. So they're going to have their gifts, they're going to have their memories, and they're going to have their understandings, and they're going to be incarnating in all sorts of different types of families. So, you know, really gifted kids are going to be coming into families where maybe they're like, you know, really like ignorant redneck, doesn't, you know, kind of family which just has their solid religious belief systems or whatever it is. These kids are going to incarnate into these families and be like, yeah, I'm talking to grandma and grandma's past and getting all this information, and they're going to see their auras and know what's going on with dad. Like, dad, what's this, you know, why is your back, like, what's going on with your back? There's this big black thing, and they'll be like, what the hell? You know, that's how it organically happens. And that's how people, because you can't deny when your child, you know, that you love more than anything has these gifts and these understandings. That's what's going to shift things. So working with these kids, they're here to be themselves. That's what's so beautiful. We're the grunt workers. Like there's a few waves of us that have incarnated here to help establish the structures, establish the architecture, work with the grids, help heal, help bring awareness to these things, shift belief systems, to make space. We're like the foot soldiers. We're on the front lines to make space so these kids can come in and be themselves. And that gives everybody permission to be their authentic self. And that's where the magic is. That's how everything changes. But I would love to, yeah. So if you're interested in wanting to work with, if you're wanting to work with me at all or anything, especially, if you have kids that you're interested in working with, then you can go to the link in my bio. I don't know. I think I might have taken down the way to message me. I'm not sure, but you can email me. My email is in the link, is in my bio. So it's Tyel Heals, my username @gmail. Just shoot me a message. If you have questions, things like that, just shoot me a message. Am I really schizo? I'm not sure. Schizo is like an aura type in a lot of ways. It's a way that you interface with energy. So it may be, but that doesn't mean that you have to adopt the projections of other people on what that means to you. You are you. People are just throwing labels onto what that might, like your whatever, they're just trying to put labels on. We're not any of this stuff. We just adopt certain labels and beliefs and properties that then we say this is us. So it's just a label. It's an experience. If it serves you, then you take on that label. If it doesn't serve you, I would say drop it. Totally your call. Oh, so Han Bella says, I know a couple of great doctors interested in herbal healing and metaphysical healing. Beautiful. Yeah, my doctors are as well. I haven't quite come out to the extent of what I do yet. They know I'm an energy worker. They don't know what that means. They're like rocky, racky, like that racky stuff. Not really. Sort of. Not really. Yeah, like that. Not doing all this kind of stuff. But I would love to work with more doctors that are open. They're definitely open-minded. Like I like to wear my clothes based on colors, so how I feel. So I had all this these colors on that made me feel really good when I went to the doctors, because I'm not a big fan of going to doctors. So lots of violets and things that calm me down. And she was like, I love your colors. And I'm like, yeah, I wear colors based on how they make me feel. And she's like, well, colors are definitely tied to emotions. And I'm like, yes, they are. I'm like, yes, they are. And just all this stuff in there is very holistic, and which is great. So that's why I'm comfortable with that doctor. How do I feel about Reiki? It's great. It's to me, I define Reiki as just universal energy. As far as the Reiki specific modality, I haven't been fully attuned. I've been attuned to one type of Reiki, but yeah, if it works for people, I think I say do everything. It's a great foundational practice for sure. It depends on who you get your Reiki training through too. So the Aura lady in here, Samantha, is amazing. So if you were to go to her, it would be a completely different experience than if you were to get attuned by some other Reiki what do they call them, grandmasters or whatever, the people that attune other Reiki masters, the people that create Reiki masters. So it really depends. I've seen some Reiki master, whatever grandmasters that I wouldn't get much from, but some that are really, really awesome. So Samantha, I don't know if she's still in here, but she would be a great one to go to. Check my driveway for nails. Good call. Good call on that one. You said grandmaster. I think that's what they call them. Don't they call them grandmasters? I think those are the ones that train other Reiki masters. I believe so. Yeah, some people learn Reiki in a weekend. Yeah, that's right. You don't do it in a weekend, right? You do each one in the KKK. Yeah, they call grandmaster just a term that they give to, I don't know, it's any kind of initiation, I'm not a huge fan of the term master to begin with. I don't even like to use that, like when in spirit people call me master or something. I'm like, what? Why would you call me that? I don't like it. What? That just feels weird. I don't, but it's my programming too, because I've got this programming, these people, it feels weird. I've adopted the definition that masters means that, you must submit to them or something, So, but that's my issue. They can do whatever they want. Yeah. Not my problem. It's none of my business. None of my business. It's good to see you in here, Ashley. See, I am eating well, Ashley. I told you I am eating well. I haven't had my smoothie this morning yet, but I'm going to do it right after. I got all my green. I got spinach and kale. I got like these superfood powders and all sorts of good stuff. I wasn't eating well for a really long time. I even eat a solid meal a day too. Yeah, so yeah, Sammy said, actually, when you are tuned to Reiki Master, it is the start of your journey. I would agree with that 100%, Sammy. I'm friends with the Pantheons, and Ascended Masters. Right on. I'm friends with everybody that'll have me. You know, I'm not a big fan of being in clubs. You know, that's not really my thing. It's like, there's a lot of energetic clubs and groups. I'm involved in a lot of them, but I'm kind of like the outsider in a lot of these groups. You know, I'm kind of like the token weirdo, you know, the kid in the back of the class that, you know, they have to sit, the one that they have to go sit by himself, you know, because he's sassy, you know. They're like, yeah, we want you to be part of our club, or like be involved to help us out with these things. But yeah, you should just go sit over there because you make us look funny, you know. You're ruining our band photo, you know. Like we're all looking all super cool and stoic, and then you're over there going, you know. Groups. And a lot of these groups are really possessive too. They want you to like, they use you. They like to use your gifts and stuff and then claim it to be part of their thing, you know. It's like this is all the stuff we've done. I'm like, bitch, I did that. What are you talking about? What did you, I appreciate you telling me where to go, but you know, like, it's like, gosh. Remind me of an older version of your son. Oh, beautiful. I'm sure that's a very nice compliment. Ooh, I love it. We got our buddy Finnegan. I bet he's probably gonna pop in. I bet that's what happens usually. It's like when his song comes out on the playlist, he'll pop. I feel like he'll pop in. Kind of felt him. I think I felt him earlier. I don't know if he came in earlier, but he's great. So Saint Finnegan is a creator on here that makes music with energy intentions, so healing intentions. I think he has a podcast called Energy Hospital. But he designs healing songs for people. So I think he's not doing anymore because he's done hundreds of them, or a whole bunch in a short period of time. But he's great. He's got a big old heart. Thanks for dropping in, Ashley. It's good to see you. Yeah, absolutely. Don't be a stranger. Anytime. I love Ashley Summer. If you don't follow her, she's an amazing tarot reader. She's just her, and that's what I love more than anything. Like, that's it. Like, if you are just authentically being yourself, like uncensored, that's like makes my heart so big and happy. So yeah, she's great. Witchy and just all jack of all trades, you know, just being her. Yeah, so Mystical Latina, I think it is st.finnikin, Saint Finnegan. I think if you just search Finn, you should be able to find it, or Saint. I don't know. You should be able to find it. I've made a transmission to his music too. So like the High Heart. If you go to my channel, I just did one with the High Heart magic, where I'm like laying on some rocks. That one you can look at the audio, and you should be able to find them through the audio clip. There you go. Thank you, Marie Claire. Are there healing codes to heal the economy? Yeah, the economy's got to crash. It's gonna have to. It's gonna eventually. You know, it's so broken and so manipulated that, you know, it has to change. There's got a lot of things have to crash and have to shift big time. And the more we are putting it off as a collective, like the more it gets like put off, like things, it's like this dance of like, is it gonna happen now? Okay, no, they swooped in and fixed that. Is it gonna happen now? No, they did this, yeah. And so it's this dance, but the longer it goes on, the more intense it's gonna be when it actually collapses all at once. So that could happen. Yeah, unfortunately things here in this reality take time, and we're trying to do it in a smooth way because it can be a shock to people's systems, right? People need to wake up slowly and organically. A lot of us want this just to be over with because it's brutal, but the truth is that people have to do the work, right? We're in this as a collective, and part of our jobs as people who are aware of these things early on is to kind of hold the hands of people as they're waking up, and that they're going to be waking up more and more as this place gets harder and harder, and they can't hide from their pain anymore. So there's certain energies that come from the sun, certain light. There's light that gets ejected from the sun that pushes through this stagnant energy, and which is these traumas, these things that we're holding on to in our energy field, and it pushes, it forces it out. And once that happens, things can happen in our reality that are uncomfortable, or we start to get things like dis-ease in the body. So people that haven't been doing emotional work, had a lot of trauma in their lives or other lives, are going to start, they're going to have physical ailments come up, and then they have to figure out a way to manage that. Is Western medicine going to heal it for them? It's going to be less and less a way to feel better, because it's a spiritual situation. It's not a physical situation. The physical is a side effect of our spirituals. So. Are those healing words and sounds based on their syllabic sequence energy? I'm new to you. It's vibration. So it's some of it's more like code, some of it's more, like thank you for the hearts. Some of it's more like, music. Some of it can be directly translatable. It's energy exchange. It's an exchange of data. So it's not just the words and sounds. It's the data that is being transmitted behind it. So it's very multidimensional. So like if you were to say be on like ayahuasca, right? If you're in an ayahuasca ceremony and I started to come up to you and start doing my light languages, it's going to sound way different. And you're going to see way different stuff. You might see geometry everywhere. You might see like matrix looking code coming out. You might see stuff happening all over the place. You might be seeing visions. There could be all sorts of stuff. So it's very multidimensional. That's the idea of it. It's just straight frequency. Sorry, they're working on my roof. Yeah, it's meant to be felt. That's the idea. It's meant to be felt. But anyway, I've been blabbing away long enough, and I love you all so much. I'm going to just do one last thing on everybody that is open to receive before I jump off. And that's what we're going to do, is we're going to set up a 12D shield. So part of our divine architecture here as human beings, we were designed for a 12D template. So we're meant to exist at least through these 12 dimensional perspectives. So this is something that goes through all of this. So from my perspective, you want to actually set up your 12D shield. This is part of your architecture. That's just part of that. So this is what I would do. But because some energies can't get past like 11.5. So like artificial, and if you want to call it artificial intelligence, they're going to be kind of acting up quite a bit, because we're moving into an organic system. So there's a lot of AI influence, if you want to call it that. There's not a better word that I really have for it. So this 12D shielding tech will assist with that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to spin up this the 6-pointed star in the pineal gland. So it's a little, kind of like the Star of David. It's a platinum silver, I believe. And it's going to spin, and it's going to spin up, and then we're going to move it down through the Shishima, or I think it's Shishima is how you pronounce it, the pranic tube, the divine line that houses all the energy centers. So we're going to move it down through the pineal gland, down through the neck and throat. So cleansing the throat, moving down through the CT junction, into the chest, cleansing the high heart and the heart, moving down through the solar plexus, cleansing, through the sacral, cleansing, through the root, cleansing, down through and out the root, moving between the thighs and hamstrings, between the knees, between the shins and calves, between the ankles, feet, and then down into the Earth Star that we share. It's an energy center that we share with Mother Earth, and it's going to spin in that spot faster and faster, and it's an ejecta platform. And this platform is then going to begin to emit a diamond platinum light that is going to flow up from this platform, up and up, moving up through the feet, up through the shins and calves, up through the knees, the thighs and hamstrings, hips and buttocks, the groin, all the vital organs in the torso, through the hands, all the way up through the arms and shoulders, neck and throat, head and face, up and out of the body, and all the way above the head where you can't reach it. So about 1 meter or so. And this platform is, you can't reach out your hands and touch it. So it's big enough that it goes all the way around you. And then we're going to take that little star, that 6-pointed star, that's then going to begin to spin up. The platform staying there. It's going to move back up through the divine line, the pranic tube, all the way up, out through the crown, up into the top of this diamond pillar. And and then it's going to spin again faster and faster and eject a platform on the top. So it's creating a vacuum seal. So it's keeping that in there. And then I'm going to add some extra layers to it as well. So we're going to put a diamond octahedron around that cylinder. We're going to rotate that gently clockwise, and we're going to fill that in with platinum light between the octahedron and our diamond pillar. Then I'm going to put an inverted chromium pyramid around that. I'm going to rotate that gently clockwise. I'm going to fill that in with diamond light between those structures. And then the last little layer I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the heart. We're going to feel that love frequency. Think happy thoughts, like Peter Pan. Think happy thoughts. Open the heart. Think about your pet that you love a lot, or your partner, or your favorite video game, or something funny. You know, whatever kind of gets you in that heart space. Feeling love. Thinking about your babies. And then we go around that love, that light that's building in the heart, with a fullerene shape, so a buckyball. This is like a soccer ball shape. It's sometimes called a C60. We're going to put that around there, and then we're going to place silver and platinum mirrors, a mix of silver and platinum, on the outside of the faces of the structure, and we're going to put silver mirrors on the inside of the faces. So this is going to reflect back our energy to keep it in, and then it's going to reflect back any energies that are not in alignment with us and keep it out with a healing frequency. So if any energies are coming at us, it's going to reflect back. It's going to be a mirror, and it's going to reflect back healing. We don't want to reflect back what they did to it. They're intending, if they're trying to attack us, they need healing, you know. So we're not going to try to attack them back, but they will see themselves. So don't be surprised if people project quite a bit. And we're going to expand this to go around these other geometries in 3, 2, 1. Lock it in, boom. And I'm going to paint the seams with some light language and light codes. It's going to help the structure stay up longer and help bring healing into the structure and into this container. Someone's locked in the closet. I was in the closet for way too long. Let me out, let me out. I've got a few people in my back room. They're supposed to be tied up. I don't know they must be kicking the wall. Yeah, all right, boom. All right, we good? All right, so I'm gonna draw back the clearing pyramids, and my little buddy is gonna dissolve. The thumb drive is probably gonna run for a little bit longer. The figure 8's gonna run for a little bit longer, or those will dissolve when it's appropriate for you. But I'm gonna go ahead and scrub out the proxy of the group that I was working on. And everybody is good to go. I hope you're feeling better. Let me know how you're feeling. How's everybody feeling after that have been hanging out for a bit? I'm the rubber, you're the glue. Bounce off me and stuck to you. I love it. Good. I'm glad you're feeling good. You're always safe. If you you're safe, but always take care of yourself. You know, if you don't feel safe, find a way to be safe. You know, probably the people on here are. I mean, you're safe. You're safe in this container. Yeah, anyway, so if y'all are interested in learning more, if you have any questions, anything like that, feel free to email me. Like I said, I'm working on my website some more today, and you'll be able to do everything through that. I do one-on-ones and whatnot, but I'm kind of on a hiatus right now as I'm taking care of my own healing. So I will offer that. I specialize in helping people do these things for themselves. So helping them heal, activate, so triggering remembrances. So that could be things like doing what I do, like light languages, or gifts, things like that. And then also upgrades, which is the idea of whatever's already going on and whatever you got it going on. So if you're clairvoyant, you can get more bells and whistles to your site. That's also what I do. So essentially I specialize in helping you integrate and embody your highest self as quickly as possible. So I'm like a laser beam. So I'm not necessarily a reader, I'm like a laser beam. But yeah, I love y'all so much. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning, or whatever time it is for you. I appreciate you and I love you. Thank you for all the gifts, and thank you for hanging out and the questions. Can you do this through commanding? Absolutely. I do everything through commanding. I don't see, so I don't visualize, so I command everything. Thank you. Man tu sandiresia kraswat yarte. Tu shunumbra takishe. Chiana tu sandiera taswa shandiera kasha. Yeah, you can do it without speaking it aloud. Yeah. Kumoshuakisha natu asiata pa irakishia. Oh, I would love to go to Ohio. Yeah, I'm gonna travel more. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, we got the goal. Thank you so much. I love y'all so much. Don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger. I'll try to post. I'm probably gonna post this on YouTube for replay too. If you want to go back and watch it, and you can get the effects again, or you can listen to me blab away about all that I did. Yes, I love you. I love y'all. Have an awesome rest of your day, rest of your week, rest of your night, whatever time it is. Booyah!